meetings right now, and the Yankees right away throwing out the deal of a lifetime for CC Sabathia. Mm-hmm. Now, they are addressing a need. I mean, pitching is a huge, wide open hole that is, let's face it, that was the reason why the Yankees did not get into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Bottom line, plain and simple. They missed out on the Johan Santana deal like they did, and Santana, even though not a typical Johan Santana season that we saw when he was with the Twins, still had a solid enough season for the Mets. How much does that factor into the fact that, wow, we really missed the boat on this one because our pitching was not that great? How much of that takes effect when they throw out the lucrative deal that they threw out to CC Sabathia, 8-year, $145 million contract that they threw out to Sabathia? How much does that take effect when they're like, wow, we really missed the boat on Santana. Sabathia is the heavy hitter right now. We need to get him right away. We need to throw something out there and throw out a deal and try to maybe set a tone on it, what the rest of the league is going to do when it comes to teams trying to get a pitcher like Sabathia. How much does that take effect?
I think it's a huge effect. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they lost out to Johan Santana, and they don't want to go down that road again. It seems like the light bulb finally may have gone off for the Yankees, and they realize that pitching is the only way they can salvage this current team that they have. I personally, and I don't think too many people would disagree with me, you're going to lose on the back end of that contract. 8 years to CC Sabathia, you're going to lose on that, but you're going to win on the front end. CC Sabathia is a proven winner. We've seen him do it with the Indians, and we saw him, throw his heart out against Milwaukee with Milwaukee down the stretch this season. So I think that it is a good move by the Yankees. Again, not crazy about the years, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. It is an awful lot of money, but the Yankees have the money, and in order to get this team going in the right direction, the only way they become viable again is by addressing what is a horrid, and I can't use any other adjective, horrid pitching staff. I like the philosophy right now. I like that they're going after CC Sabathia. I think a key signing for them also could be, I heard Steinbrenner mention it this week, Derek Lowe. I think Derek Lowe would be a huge middle-of-the-rotation guy for them, that could be your third or fourth starter and really give you some quality innings, which is what the Yankees have been missing. So it seems like, for once, I don't know who has put the game plan together, because Brian Cashman and the Steinbrenners haven't seemed to want to address this issue the last couple of years, and it's not because there weren't pitchers available. They just couldn't get the deals done. So I think they're moving in the right direction as of right now.
Well, here's a surprise comment. Doug Melvin, the GM of the Milwaukee Brewers, has already made comments that the Yankees have basically, quote-unquote, overbid on CC Sabathia,
which I agree.
But at the same time, though, this is a desperate team.
Yeah,
this is a guy this is a guy that they want. Mm-hmm. So if you have the cash, and you have the ability to do that, and that is the guy you want, why not? Why not overbid? I mean, remember, this is a franchise that was in the playoffs for the past 12 years, missed out when the Red Sox were back in it, and the Tampa Bay Rays had rose to the top, going from worst to first. This is a desperate franchise, and Hank Steinbrenner is the type of guy that's like, there's no excuse why we pay all of our players top dollar and we are not in the playoffs competing for a championship. No, there is no excuse for that whatsoever, and they have the finance. Actually, it's a 6-year deal for $140 million, not 8-year like I had read on Yahoo. But still, though, I mean, it's a big contract, and it's a lengthy one as well. How about this one? I don't know if you heard of this one, Todd, but this is also some talk that's going on between the Red Sox and the Tigers. The possibility of Julio Lugo getting sent to Detroit for either Nate Robertson or Dontrell Willis. The millionaire in Lakeland possibly playing in Fenway.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm too crazy about that, just because I don't know if Willis has anything left, to be quite honest. I don't know about that one. I'd have to think on that more. I mean, I don't want to say that Julio Lugo is expendable, but I mean, I can understand maybe why they try to put something together. It could be a reach, by the Red Sox, and maybe it'll pan out and work for them. They've had success, evaluating talent the last couple of years. coming off the season that Willis had, there's probably a reason why Detroit would be anxious to give him away. I'm not so sure I like that deal.
Well, remember, he was kind of a side package when the Tigers brought up Miguel Cabrera to play third base for the Tigers, and that deal seemed to be a complete loss on all ends around for the Tigers. I mean, the Marlins, once again, they benefit off young players and play as well as they do. And how about this latest rumor? Of course, Randy Johnson filing for free agency.
This one,
And apparently the top bidder for Randy Johnson is the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
The Cubs going after Randy Johnson. Not sure if he's going to be a starter, but, at the same question, it's interesting when Kerry Wood's out now. He's not going to come back as a Cub.
Mm-hmm.
You now have Ryan Dempster coming off a career year, and you're having the trade talks where San Diego is shopping Jake Peavy.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that they wouldn't look at bringing Jake Peavy into Chicago. Originally, there were some talks with San Diego and Atlanta, but those talks are off now. Peavy's staying put. He's not going to the Braves. If you're the Cubs, wouldn't you try to be a little more aggressive on going after Peavy, who's a younger, more proven pitcher? Yeah. First off, let me ask you this before I do get further into that. One of the talk show sports talk guys, Colin Cowherd, I'll just go ahead and say his name right there, has brought up the point that he feels when it comes to pitchers, you just go with the ones that you have growing into your minor league. Do not spend the big bucks on free agent pitchers because you don't know how their arms are going to react. At least with the pitchers you have their medical reports, so on and so on. If you're going to spend money on the big bats like Manny Ramirez, Mark Teixeira. What do you take on that? I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, when you got these pitchers,
some cases,
I was like, when you got these pitchers like Jake Peavy, who's proven.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't have a problem with spending money on Jake Peavy. It all depends, I think, on the individual player. Obviously, when you're getting these guys at the back end of their careers, like Pedro Martinez just pops to my head. When the Red Sox spent the money to get Pedro from the Expos, it was a great deal.
Right.
When the Mets spent it at the back end of his career, it was a bad deal. I think it all goes back to how good your GM is, and your ability to grade players, to look at them, to put them through thorough exams and things of that nature. The Yankees have kind of disproved the theory where if you buy the big bats, it still doesn't win you a championship, because they've been doing that for the last 3 years and not addressing the pitching, and that's gone to hell. Now, I do agree you do need to raise, like Florida Marlins are a great example of that, raising pitchers up through their farm system. The Rays also, very good at doing that. Boston, very good at doing that with John Lester and Papelbon. But I think you need to, at some times, you have to know when that golden ticket is out there, you have to go after them. You just have to know if it's fool's gold or not.
Looking at we talked about Sabathia and the Yankees. The other pitchers that the Yankees do have on their wish list or Christmas list, Derek Lowe, AJ Burnett, and they are also looking at Jake Peavy as well. So Peavy is also a hot name for a trade. Sabathia obviously is the biggest name, but then, like you said, you got Jake Peavy, Derek Lowe, AJ Burnett, Randy Johnson. Granted, he's older. He may not be a starter, but you know what? Throw him in a closer role or something like that if he's willing to do that for a team, if they're especially competing for a World Series title. There's a lot of ways to go out there, and it's not just the pitchers. We already talked about Mark Teixeira, and of course, the biggest fish out of all the big-time hitters in baseball, Manny Ramirez, offered a huge deal from the Dodgers to stay in L.A., and that to me, the Dodgers deal of keeping Manny, kudos to them for throwing out that big of a contract, realizing how much Manny Ramirez, if he's able to stay sane and the planets stay aligned for Planet Man-Ram to kind of stay sane, if he's able to be not a head case, not a distraction, he brings a lot to the Dodgers, and you saw what he was able to do when, by the way, the Dodgers weren't paying for him. It was the Red Sox still paying Manny Ramirez's contract.
Yep. I like